So I thought that you might enjoy this read aloud of Emma and the Whale. Probably a story none of you have read before. It's really an amazing one though. It's written by Julie Cage and Lee White. I'll try to make sure you can see it okay. There's a little bit of a glare. There's not too much I could do about that, but I'll do my best. Got a breathing page here. And the title page. We'll take another big deep breath. And I'll bring the pictures up close so that you can see them as I read the story. The old house where Emma lived had crooked walls and slanting floors, but Emma didn't mind. It was close to the ocean, and that was her favorite place to be. After school, Emma always took her dog, Nemo, to play at the beach. They combed the shore for shells and stones and sea glass. At low tide, that's when they found the best treasures. Sometimes Emma saw whales in the water. Sometimes she saw dolphins, and once a loggerhead turtle. She liked to picture an ocean teeming with life, with no balloons or bottles spit to shore. So teeming with life means a lot of things are living in it. She wants to see the ocean full of life and healthy creatures and without any garbage on the shore. There, she's got a starfish. You can see that. It says, please don't hurt the whales. And there's Emma in a little boat. Emma often imagined traveling back to olden times when whalers had lived in her seaside hamlet. She would shout at the captains, "Please don't hurt the whales!" and they would listen. So whalers had lived in her house before because in olden times, that means a long, long time ago, whale oil was used in lamps to make light and for all kinds of other things. And so people would go out and they would hunt whales almost to the point where there were no whales anymore, almost to extinction. One foggy day, Emma grabbed a small bucket because the tide was low and her green jacket because she thought it might rain. She and Nemo headed down Beach Lane toward the ocean. Emma felt droplets on her cheeks. She smelled the salty air. The sea and the sky swirled together as she skipped past the misty dunes to the shoreline. Emma and Nemo frolicked in the surf. They followed the tide line. They sank their toes in the sand. The drizzle began softly, but Emma had her cozy wool sweater and her jacket to keep her warm. "We're having minestrone soup and rosemary bread for dinner," she thought. "I'll turn around soon." One summer long ago, Emma and her friends had lined up to run across a great gray log that had washed ashore. When Emma had closed her eyes, she'd become a tightrope walker, the first to cross the sea. Every so often, a new log would arrive, maybe from down the street, maybe from the Bahamas or the Azores. Nemo started barking. "That's so unlike him," thought Emma. She followed Nemo's stare down the beach. "What's that?" she wondered. "I think it's a drift log." So here Emma's remembering about crossing a drift log in her imagination. And then here Nemo's barking and she's like, "Hey, maybe that's a drift log." Then she realized it's not a log. It's a whale. see the whale in the low tide. So the tide of the ocean comes in and out along the shore, and so it gets deeper and more shallow. And maybe this whale was swimming when the water was deep, and then the tide rushed out again, and so it's beached there. Emma ran closer. "I'm not going to hurt you," she whispered, kneeling down. The whale stretched across the sand, a dark body, tail, flippers, and pectoral fins. Emma looked at its big black eye. The wide-eyed whale stared back. "You must be a baby. I'm a friend. I will help you." "Thank you," the whale's voice sounded in her head. "Did you just speak to me?" "I did," Emma felt the whale's reply. There's its eye right there. Big raindrops fell, and Emma put her hand on the whale's back. She felt its breaths. She saw its blowhole. Emma felt the suffering in that big body. She couldn't say how, but she knew the whale was a girl like her. "I have to get you back to the water," Emma said. Emma and the whale watched as waves arrived on shore, uncurled and swept back to sea. "The ocean never stops," Emma marveled. So she's marveling at something. She's wondering about it with kind of a sense of awe. How can that be? She's in this way, she's thinking, how is it the ocean is so big, right? And the ocean is big because creatures as big as whales can live in the ocean and have plenty of space, more than enough space. The tide was coming in. It reached a flipper. "The water's rising," she said. "Soon you can swim home." "I'm scared." "Don't be," Emma replied. "Think of your pod and your family. Picture yourself swimming free." She touched the little whale. "It's time." The whale was even heavier than she looked. Emma pushed hard and tumbled onto her. "I'm sorry." Emma's eyes welled with tears. There, Emma's trying to push the whale. She took a deep breath and tried again. "I can do this." As the waves unrolled, Emma pushed and pushed and pushed. The whale began to wriggle. The surf swirled around them, the water got deeper, and the ocean did the work. A few more pushes and the whale slipped past Emma and ducked under a wave. She was beyond the break, over the sandbar, and out to sea. Emma saw the whale look back. A bit beyond, another whale hovered. That must be her mother. Emma stood stunned, breathless, and sopping wet. So there the baby whale joins with her mother. And there's Emma and Nemo on shore. The whales disappeared into the fog. Emma remained in the shallowest water. Nemo lingered on the sand. "Nemo!" Emma shouted and ran to her dog. She hugged him tightly, and they started for home. That night, sleep came easily, and Emma dreamed of the whale. Her legs wrapped around the whale's big back. They sailed through turquoise waters beside pink sand beaches. Emma gripped the whale's back with her knees. Her hair was loose, Her arms reached out and she was laughing. The end.